Today you're going to learn how to operate and tune the M3 in under 5 minutes. First thing you have to remember, never fire this gun when it's below the regulator pressure. Number 2, the rifle must be uncocked when turning the power adjuster or really adjusting the rifle in any way. Make sure the rifle is always uncocked when you adjust it. Number 3, never adjust the regulator above 170 bar. Okay, there's 5 points of adjustment on the M3. The valve adjuster, which is the front knob. The first regulator adjustment, which is inside where the bottle screws on. Then you have the second regulator adjustment, which is located way inside the trigger guard. Then you have the macro power adjuster, which is the hammer power wheel. And that's located on the back. And then you have the micro power adjustment, which is the fine-tuned barrel roller. So the first regulator is going to come from the factory at 150.
Nailed it.
But we're going to show you how to adjust that. It recommends that you leave that where it was. Your second regulator is what you would adjust for different calibers. And then within your caliber, this is a 22 caliber, so I would just use my macro power adjustment and my fine-tuning micro power adjustment to tune in for different pellets. So the only one that you have to remember to do with no air in the gun is the first regulator, and that's pretty easy because you have to take your bottle off. To adjust it, just make sure you pull your trigger, get all the air out of your gun before you adjust your first regulator. Also, never turn your first regulator more than a quarter turn. It's very important. Just do tiny adjustments. So let's say you bought a used FX Impact M3 like I did, and you want to get it back to the factory tune. That's super easy. In addition, if your friend has a, let's say the 25.39 grain pellet, he got his M3 just perfected to shoot those pellets perfectly. Or let's say the 15.89 grains. All he has to do is give you his numbers or his tune, and you just program it into your gun, and now you're shooting him the exact same. Same if you get the numbers off a YouTube video. So the factory tune on the M3 for 18.1 grain pellets looks like this. Regulator 1 is going to be at 150 bar. Regulator 2, 70 bar. Your macro wheel is going to be at 16. Your fine tune, quick tune system is going to be at 2. And your valve adjustment is going to be at line 5.5. So in this video, we're going to adjust this gun to those settings. There is one more thing that you should never do, and that is fire this gun when it has no air in it, with the exception of the one time you're going to pull the trigger after you first take the bottle off.
Okay, you guys can see that my gauge right there is at 250. My front reg is at 110. So I need to get that regulator to 150. So all we got to do is unscrew the bottle.
Anytime you're adjusting your gun, you do want to have your pressure at 200 bar or above.
Alright, so never fire your gun when there's no air in it.
That can void the warranty.
So my front regulator adjustment is right inside there. So I'm going to confirm there's no air in that one. Go to the back here. Looks like I still got some air back there, so I will pull the trigger one time. Alright, now it's going to slowly hiss the air out to 0 right there. So I got that more or less at 0 in the back. My front reg is at 0. And of course my tank pressure is at 0. I'm going to take a 2.5 millimeter Allen key.
And it says in the manual to do this gently. All the adjustments on this gun are going to be counterclockwise for up and clockwise for down. Now I'm going to turn it counterclockwise.
Alright.
Screw my bottle back on.
Alright, let me pull the trigger, see what happens here. I almost nailed it. I'm going for 150. See how exact that is though? It goes back to the exact same spot every time.
I did have to refill my air one time in between, but after a few tries I managed to get this peg at exactly 150 bar.
Nailed it.
If you have the proper tool, which is called a ball end Allen key, you don't have to take your trigger guard on and off to adjust your rear regulator, because these little teeny bolts can strip out. You can put a bolt that's a couple millimeters longer in and it will grab. That's what happened to me and I was just fine. This screw right there is actually a safety screw. And if that screw's not backed out, then your trigger won't fire. So my bolt's right in there. In order to get my Allen key in there, I just have to squeeze. Actually, there's only one side that'll work. There it is, and make sure I'm locked in there. Once again, make sure the gun's not cocked. I would just turn that little screw counterclockwise to increase the pressure on my back dial right here, which is my rear regulator. Cock your gun, pull your trigger, and you have to do it a couple times. So let's say that your reg was set at 100 right there. Pull the trigger a couple times and it'll go bop, 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 and then it'll settle at one spot. So I already got mine right at 70. The manual says the second regulator should be set on 70 to 75 bar for 22 caliber. But you will notice the tune for the 25.39 grain requires that you set your rear regulator to 95 bar. Generally though, within the calibers, you're just going to be using your macro and micro adjustments to tune between different pellet weights. With your gun pointed in a safe direction, you want to pull your trigger, make sure it's not cocked. And for the factory tune on the 18.1 grain, we want to put our macro wheel at 16. All right, 16, and then I want to be 2 on the barrel roller. Yep, that's it right there. So right here is your valve adjuster. And as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 lines right there. Let's zoom in. You know, I'm just going to call that the 4th line because what we're going to do now, I'm going to hit this with a highlighter just so I can tell which one it is. There we go. So we're on line number 4. Line number 6 is going to be 1.5 turns out. Okay, so here we go. That's 1 turn. And then a half would be, I guess I would just turn this directly to the other side. So that right there is 6 lines, you guys. 1.5 turns out from 4. Now, for my 18.1 grain tune, I want to be 5.5 lines out. So according to my calculations, I need to go back about 1/3 of a turn. And a little more. We're just going to call that 5.5. And that's it, you guys. Now you know how to tune and operate an M3. There's nothing mysterious or nothing you have to be intimidated by. If you want tunes for certain pellets, just jump right on Airgun Nation, ask them, or you can even email FX USA directly, and they'll answer your email in like 1 or 2 days. So, great service by those guys. I can't say enough good things about the M3, you guys, so I'm just going to cut it off here. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate FX. They're going to help me out with some videos in the near future here. So, thanks to FX. I'm going to have a lot of really cool M3 videos for you guys. All right, thanks again for tuning in. Everybody stay safe out there. Happy shooting. And we'll see you in the next one. In addition, you guys, if you buy your M3 through Pyramid Air and use the link below, I'll make 5% of the sale. So that would be super cool too. And thank you to all the guys that have been using the affiliate links over the past year. I really appreciate it.